Hello everybody, welcome to your first class in Fire Emblem 101. I'm Professor Turtle, and today we're going to be talking about the question, how should I summon on the following weekly banners? Now, quick disclaimers before this. This is not a guide. This video is meant to provide insight on how I'm strategizing my summoning, not direct everyone on how they should summon. I'm only doing a lecture-based video because I thought it would work and be funny with this sort of planning. But please do not blindly follow this. This is my own planning. If you wish to take some notes and of course get some insight on this, by all means go ahead. Secondly, of course, know your limit, play within it. It's very standard saying for do not use too much money for things that you don't want to be using it for. For example, you don't want to be spending thousands of dollars on this game. Well, maybe you do, but I wouldn't recommend it personally. Please be cautious with your money and your orb consumption. I'm personally not planning on spending any money on this. If you go ahead and do so, by all means go ahead, but just please be careful. This is essentially a gambling video game, so I don't know if I have to be cautioning this, but please be careful. Now let's go on to the question, what are these weekly banners? As you can see, we have 10 weeks, 20 weeks of banners that have lots of different units. These units have been from the game since, I guess, the first-ish year. These units all appeared before Book 2, and they're 5-star units that are no longer in the regular focus, so they are essentially a bit more rare as of right now, compared to units that are currently in our 5-star focus, like Lian, Kanigis, Tabarn, lots of Laguz units. These guys are definitely more rare and somewhat even outdated. Now, I've never really tried to summon for focus units that are not limited edition, meaning characters that are not seasonal units. Because of this, I am missing a lot of these characters, so this is why I'm kind of going for these characters since they're no longer in the pool, especially now that they're at a higher rate of 4%. So primarily I have two objectives that I'm going for, and the first one is to obtain a copy of every unit. This is pretty standard. I want to complete my Pokédex / Heroes Catalog, and we'll go ahead and do that, hopefully. Secondly is use as few orbs as possible. I do not want to be using tens of thousands of orbs to try and get every single unit. My goal is not to plus 10 anybody. My goal is just to get one of each. So theoretically, while this would take a lot of orbs, I am going to try and minimize my orb consumption as much as possible. In doing so, I do need to do some planning, and that's kind of the point of this whole video. Now, here are some questions to consider when I'm going about my summoning. First of all, do I have a copy of this character? Secondly, do I like this character? These two questions are going to guide me primarily on how I want to be prioritizing my summonings. I am going to rank characters that I don't have over characters that I do have, and I'm also going to rank the ones that I like over the ones that I don't like. So if there's a character that I don't have that I really like, they're going to be ranked pretty high on my priority list because those are the two most important questions to me. Other questions to consider include, how often will this character appear? This means how many weeks will this character appear out of the 20 weeks that are available. If they appear multiple times, that gives me multiple opportunities to summon for them. So maybe I'll try and guide myself to summon for them on a better week if it helps with my orb count. How many orbs will I have at the beginning of the week? How can I manage my orbs so I have enough time to summon for characters I want? Meaning that I can structure enough orbs in, per se, week 2 so that I have enough orbs by week 6, for example. I don't want to really be stacking week 2, week 3, week 4, and then just leaving 5, 6, 7, because then I won't have as many orbs in week 3 and 4 because I'll have used so many for week 2, likely. Who are the other focus characters on the banner of a character I am targeting? Now this point is actually a little bit important because it is better economically to focus on multiple characters on the same banner. I'll go into a bit more depth about this later, but as of right now, if there are multiple focus characters and multiple that I like in the same banner that I don't have, that is going to be a good banner. Here's some questions others may consider while doing this. So maybe you at home will be doing this or will be considering these questions. I personally do not really prioritize these questions, but they could be useful. What skill does this character have? So for example, if you want to be foddering away characters, how powerful is this character? Perhaps you're going for a very powerful team. Granted, I don't know if these characters would be the most powerful, considering Gen 3 units are on average a lot stronger than Gen 1 and 2 units. You still might want to consider this if you really want to target a character in particular. Finally, how valuable would this character be for me? Now this question might be a bit more unclear at first. Basically it means, am I missing a certain niche in my barracks that I really need? If I really want to target somebody who can kill dragons, then I can go for somebody like Julia Diedra, who have a weapon that works well against dragons. If I need a character that can take a couple of hits that's a lance unit, maybe I'll go for Nephany. If I already have many sword infantry units, maybe Ira is not the most useful for me, or Mia. So this question kind of applies to what kind of niche you're looking for. So now I'm going to be getting into my rankings of focus characters. This is kind of based on who I have and how much I like them. If I already have them, how valuable their skills are, or how badly I want to merge them. I try my best to separate units of the same color as much as possible to show my priorities for each color. So I'm not going to be going over every single one of these characters. I'm going to be quickly skimming through these pages to show my process of ranking of all the characters possible. I did individually put them all in different ranks. Some of these ranks are, as you've seen, are empty. That just means nobody really applies to that rank. Perhaps I already summoned most of those characters or whatnot. Now, the most important ones are the S2C characters. Now, I just quickly want to talk about them. They're the units that I don't have, so I'm putting these guys from S, A, B, C. Within those rankings, the characters that I ranked are based on how much I like them. So as you could see, Dorcas is near the bottom. He's not necessarily the one that I like the most out of those characters that I don't have, so he's near the bottom. Starting from rank D, we start to go into characters that I already have summoned. D, E, F. This all applies. Some of these characters like Hector Takumi have great skills. That's why they're on the higher end of this spectrum. Others like Saber, as you've seen, I kind of want to merge him because he's pretty strong now with his refined weapon. Most of these units are pretty good, but I don't really want to be going for them when I have a limited amount of orbs. There's only so many orbs that I want to be spending, and I don't really want to get so many duplicates on characters that I might not be so interested in. So with all these weeks, I'm just going to be putting ranks on every single one of their faces. So I already did all this dirty work. You can see we have lots of different letters on their faces. Pretty standard. Nothing too big of a deal. Now I'm going to be eliminating weak weeks. What does this mean? In total, there are 14 characters I do not have of the 47 available. Since I'm primarily targeting characters I don't have, I'm going to cross out the weeks where I have all 3 focus characters. This will help me eliminate the so-called weak weeks, the ones where I already have the characters. For example, week 4, week 6, week 7, week 13, 14, 16, 19. This helps us narrow down which weeks that we can summon for and not use orbs for weeks where I already have all the characters. Now I'm going to be highlighting units that appear twice of the units that I don't have. In other words, if they appear in multiple weeks, I'm going to put a little highlight on them, or a circle I guess. If we look at Delthea, she appears in week 2 and week 9, and since she's the only character I don't have it in week 9, I'm going to cross that out and try and go for her in week 2, because there are 2 characters there. It's better to summon for multiple focused units over just one. This is because it helps me lower the orb count that I will be using, because I'll be able to pull more stones in one circle. In week 2's case, it would be red and blue that I'd be pulling for, rather than in week 9 where I'd just be pulling for blue. Since I'm pulling for more stones in one circle, the orb count will lower because there's going to be more within the same circle. This makes the stones cheaper and makes me consume less orbs. Now we can do the same for weeks 11 to 20. As you can see, Nephany also appeared in week 3. Now she's back at week 18, so we put a circle around her, and Azura appears in week 15 and week 20. Since I already have Sanaki and Amelia, the 2 other focus units of week 18, I'm going to cross out week 18, just like that. The same thing also applies to Azura in week 15, because there are 2 other E lettered units in Elbegin and Deidre, so we can get rid of that. Now, of the remaining banners, we still have a lot to choose from, and if we were to use so many orbs on each one of these banners, it would be still kind of a mess. A lot of orbs would still be used, and I don't really want to go about doing that. So now we are going to circle the best banners. What I consider the best banners are the ones that either have an S ranked unit or multiple characters with a C rank or above the ones that I don't have, and I'm going to be circling the ones that apply and that are not crossed out. Week 2 and week 3 both have 2 focus units each, so they both get blue circles. This is pretty simple. The same thing also applies in week 12. We have a Mia and a Dorcas, B and C. Now 17, this is where the S ranked rule applies. In Alencia, she is an S ranked character, so she gets a blue circle. Week 15 doesn't, because although we do have an S ranked character, this banner is crossed out, so we're not going to consider it. Now, why does week 20 have a super thick purple circle? Week 20 has both the traits of 2 good focus units and an S-tiered character, so this denotes it as the week that is best for me to summon on. How fitting that it's the last week. But now what? Now that I see that I have 10 available weeks to summon on and a very limited number of orbs, currently in week 1 I'm at 107, I need to make a few decisions. So I asked myself the question, who do I really want? Out of all the characters, I decided to rank the weeks remaining into more tiers. I know, tiers are great, aren't they? It's important to note that the lowest ranked banner will still be higher than all the banners that were previously crossed out. In other words, I'm only going to be ranking the ones that are not crossed out. So using orbs on any single one of these banners wouldn't be a bad thing, but this is more so to answer the question, how many orbs do I want to be summoning on each of these banners? In terms of priority, I begin to realize that I'd rather have an S or A tiered unit over multiple B's or C's, so I loosely arrange my weeks by that. A very useful bit of information about the average amount of orbs you needed to summon each focus character on each banner can help guide you on budgeting your orbs for each week. The source is Akariss, specifically his Discord. His Discord, YouTube, and Twitch links are all in the description. I highly recommend watching his videos if you are interested in getting better at the game, learning tips and tricks, or adapting to Heroes' meta. I find myself watching his videos all the time. On average, you can expect to use about 100 orbs to summon every focus unit. More orbs for the more populated pools like red and blue, but generally about 100. We're going to be using general numbers as of right now. I'm not going to specifically bog down into direct numbers for each banner because things can change. Maybe I'll actually have to use 200 orbs for Azura and only 2 for Celica, so who really knows? These numbers are just an average estimation, so I wouldn't use them to exactly replicate how you would want to summon on the banners. When you focus a unit, you need to be expecting to lose more orbs than the averages displayed. This is a luck-based game, meaning bad luck is possible. I recommend limiting yourself to an amount of orbs for specific characters you want and understanding the orbs will no longer be yours if you use them all to pull. So first off, we have the great banners. Now this is kind of the obvious one. We have Azura at the S tier and Elise at A. I estimate I'll probably be using about 200 orbs to summon for these two. These two characters are ones that I really want to be going for, blue and colorless, and they do have pretty decent rates in comparison to the other colors like red. Maybe not green, but the fact that neither of these focus characters are red, it is kind of nice. Now on to the good banners. We have week 17, we have Alencia and an S ranked tier. I'll probably be using about 130 orbs for her. And then in week 3 we have Sigurd and Nefany, both at A. So it is possible that I'll be using up to 175 orbs to be going for these two. I do want Alencia and Sigurd, Nefany all very much. That is mostly the reason why they are in the good banners tier. Next we have our average banners. Ike with an A rank is in week 5, so that's why week 5 is here. I estimate maybe I'll use about 100 orbs for him. Hopefully, if we get lucky, we can use like 3. Celica and Delthea are in week 2. They both have a B rank, so that is why they're there, but 2 focus units definitely makes this a decent banner at the very least. 2 good focus units, I guess I should say. And then Mia and Dorcas are slightly lower because Dorcas is at a C rank, but Mia is at a B rank, so week 12 is slightly under week 2, but it's still a pretty decent banner nonetheless. Now we have a below average banner where we only have 1 focus unit, and she is at a B rank, Minerva. I actually quite like Minerva, and I've kind of been wanting her for a while, but in terms of all these other characters that I really want, she is fallen a bit lower than the others, so she is going to be in the below average banner. That is week 8. I could see myself potentially using up to 20 orbs for this banner, probably not even that many. I don't really know how I'm going to be summoning because that is 8 weeks away. Finally, we have the so-called bad banners. All of these banners only have 1 C-tiered unit, so I don't really see myself using any orbs for these banners. Week 11 is Brave Roy at C rank. Week 1, Young Tiki. Week 10, Olin as well at a C rank, so these banners are pretty much skippable banners. Hopefully we can get the characters on a free summon. If not, oh well, I won't cry about it. If we add up all the orbs that we're going to be using on every single banner, this leads us to a grand total of 925 orbs? Yeah, probably not. Realistically, I see myself using about 350 orbs. Why? Because I don't want to be using 925 orbs on characters that have already appeared. It is very possible that in the future they might come back or something like that. I don't really see IS pulling a fast one on us and making these characters unavailable for the rest of our lives. So, while I do really want to get them, and they are slightly more rare right now, I don't want to be using way too many orbs. I estimate about 350 maximum. And these are the characters that I really want to be targeting, the S-tiered, A-tiered characters, Alencia, Azura, Ike, and Nefni, and also Sigurd and Elise, but not as much as the first 4. These are kind of the characters that I really want to be going for, and if I get these characters at the end of the day, just these 4 or 6, I'll be very happy and my target has been reached. In other words, this is my goal for the 20 weeks. But yeah, thank you for listening. Hopefully this video about what goes on in my head when planning large summonings was interesting to watch. Or maybe it gave you some ideas on how to structure your summonings as well. Let me know if you like the style of commentary or if it was too silly and I should never do it again. Teachers love getting feedback and I'm no different. It's been fun. I really enjoyed doing this type of video. It's been very different from what I normally do, and it's kind of nice to strive away from all the direct summoning videos or whatever, and nice to just sit down and talk for a while. I will be doing a follow-up video on this, talking about who I actually get in these banners. Maybe I'll get none of these characters at all and I'll be really a sad boy, but it'll be interesting to see how that comes out and if my predictions or my targets are going to be reached. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, everybody.